Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's nice to see everybody again today. Good morning, Gaia. Good morning, Eric. And good morning, Andrea. Thank you all for joining me this morning. As I said, my name is Jennifer, for those of you who are just tuning in. Good morning, Johnny. Oh, you're Julia. Okay, good morning, Julia. So this morning I have Gaia, Julia, Andrea, and Eric. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. And good morning, Leo. Hi, how are you? We are doing a focus activity for 5. Is this Austin? Austin, is this you? Focus activity 4-5. Ordering in a cafe. Good morning, Elena. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, excellent. Oh, so we have a nice group this morning. Oh, what a wonderful Thursday. So as I said, this morning we are doing a focus activity, ordering in a cafe. In fact, I'm really enjoying these focuses where we go shopping, where we visit different parts of the country, where we go to a cafe, because since we're all locked down in our homes, it's nice to get out at least once a day virtually and go to a cafe, or we can go shopping. We can go to the supermarket virtually, which is a little bit more of a pleasant experience. We can travel as we did. We did a fantastic geographic exploration the other morning. But this morning we are going to a cafe. And a cafe is not a typical place here in Italy, but in other countries, it's a very common place to go. Why do you go to a cafe? A cafe is similar to a bar here, but it's not necessarily. Yes, Leo, I see you have a few cups of coffee there. You can go to a cafe for coffee. Absolutely. If you just want to have a coffee, you can visit a cafe. If you also want to have a snack during the morning, a snack in the afternoon, or possibly a lunch, you can meet friends at a cafe. So it's not as formal as a restaurant, but it is a place where you can grab a quick bite to eat, especially, good morning, Matteo, especially if you don't have very much time. Thank you for joining us, Matteo. How are you this morning? So if you decide, for example, to go to a restaurant for lunch, you can expect to spend more money and more time. You don't like cafes? Well, Gaia, cafe doesn't mean coffee. Cafe is a place. It's a place like a restaurant or a bar. Thank you, Elena. Elena says you can go to a cafe to have a chat with a friend, drinking a cup of coffee. Excellent. For anyone who has ever watched the television show Friends, do you remember that TV show? It's a show that talks about 6 friends that live in the same apartment building. And these friends always meet at the cafe. The cafe where they sit on sofas and they have tea, they have coffee, they can have a muffin or a sandwich. So it's a place where you go to grab a quick bite to eat, Gaia, not necessarily a cup of coffee. You can also get something else. And in this focus today, we're going to see why people go to cafes, what you can get at a cafe, and how to order at a cafe. So why don't we get started? Ordering in a cafe. In this focus activity, we will learn the phrases for how to ask for what you want, how to pay for what you order. We have 3 questions on the screen to start our focus activity. Going to a cafe. How often do you go to a cafe? Where is your favorite cafe? And what do you like to order? Now, notice the picture we have here on the screen. This would be a typical outdoor cafe, somewhere where you can sit with a friend, as Elena said, having a cup of coffee, possibly a cup of tea, and having something light and fast to eat. So obviously, if you're going to an outdoor cafe, it might be spring or maybe summer. And there are indoor cafes for when you go to get some lunch or a snack with a friend or even by yourself in the cooler months. I don't know this French soap video. Friends is a television show about 6 young people that live in New York. It's a show that you can find now on probably, I don't even know if it's on TV anymore. It was very, very famous in the 1990s. About 6 friends that lived in a New York building, and they would meet every day at the cafe. Okay, you guys are probably a little young because the show came out when I was in my 20s. So all the actors and actresses now that were on the television show, it's on the Comedy Channel. It was one of the most famous shows and on Sky. Thank you, Elena. So, Leo and Austin, if you are curious to see what a New York cafe is like, you can look up Friends on the Comedy Channel or on Sky, and you can see what a typical New York cafe looks like and why people go. I know you weren't alive. I wasn't alive in 1900 either, Austin. I was born in 1972. I don't think any of us here was alive in 1900. Okay, let's take a look at the first question. Thank you, Elena. It is a modern TV show. How often do you go to a cafe? Now, if we want to think of something similar here in Italy, yes, I think it's a very funny show also. I used to enjoy it a lot when I was younger. In fact, everyone said, oh, if we could only have an apartment like the people on Friends. But apartments like that in New York City are very, very expensive. So if we want to think about a place that is similar to a cafe in Italy, what would that be? Possibly a bar. The same way people may go to a bar for breakfast, for a cup of coffee, but you stand at the counter and drink. Whereas in a cafe, you sit down. If there is a counter, you can sit at the counter as well, but there is no standing room in a cafe. You sit at the counter or you sit at a table. Well, Leo, you're not going to know if it's funny or not unless you check it out. The title of the show is Friends, and you can find it on the Comedy Channel or on Sky. Bar or also a pub. A pub actually not, Matteo, not in the US, because pubs open in the late afternoon and evening. Because pubs usually you go to drink alcoholic beverages like a beer or maybe some wine or maybe some really hard liquor drinks like a mojito or a martini, maybe a cosmopolitan. Then you would go to a pub. A bar, Gaia and Matteo, thank you very much, is more similar to a cafe because you can go in the morning for breakfast and you can go in the afternoon for lunch. Usually cafes close in the late afternoon and early evening. And most cafes do not serve alcohol. Okay, so how often do you go to a cafe? If we see that a cafe is similar to a bar, where you can go for lunch or a snack, how often do you go? Obviously, in these past few weeks, nobody is going to bars or cafe, but think about when you were going to school or when you were going to work. How often did you stop by a cafe? I would say possibly 3 times a week. I would find myself in a cafe either to get something to go or to meet a friend for a drink. So maybe after work, I would meet a friend for a hot tea or a cup of coffee before going home. Sometimes on Saturday morning, before going into work, I would meet my colleagues, my teaching coworkers, for coffee before work. So we would stop at a cafe for a morning coffee. Does anyone else go to a cafe? And if you do go to a cafe, where is your favorite cafe? I would have to say my favorite cafe is probably on the corner of, you sometimes go to a cafe, Austin? Okay. And why do you go to a cafe? Do you go for breakfast? Do you go for lunch? Or do you go to have a snack? So think after school, maybe. You can go and get a sandwich. You can go and get something sweet, or you can go and get something to drink. And Gaia also goes to a cafe. Thank you very much, Gaia and Austin. Did you go after school or before school? And why did you go to a cafe? My favorite cafe, Mateo says, when I went to school, I never go for coffee for breakfast. I always make breakfast at home. Excellent. It's good to have breakfast at home. But sometimes if I'm running late, I'll have to grab something really fast before I go to work. Elena says, I used to go to a cafe 2 or 3 times a week for breakfast or a break in the afternoon. Yes, Ellen, and me too. Often I found that if I didn't have time to make a snack beforehand at home, I would simply stop in a cafe during the day or in the morning. Andrea says he never goes to a cafe at breakfast because it's too crowded. Yes, depending on the cafe, it can be very difficult to get in and out quickly because if it's crowded, then you have to wait online for coffee. You have to wait online to pay. I think one of my favorite cafes is in the square. Oh, what's the name of the square? The square with the sculpture. Going towards the center, going towards the castle. Piazza San Marco, St. Mark's Square. There's a cafe there that I go to sometimes if I find myself on foot in the center. And I love the pastries they have there because I believe everything is made there in the cafe. Austin says, I go to a cafe when my mom doesn't want to cook. I know. Sometimes it's difficult to cook for everybody. When we go to a cafe, what do we like to order? What do you like to order? I suppose it depends on when you go. If I go in the morning, for example, I'll have coffee with milk and something sweet. Usually a whole wheat, not brioche, a whole wheat croissant with nothing inside because I like to be healthy. Elena says, my favorite cafe is in Calenzano. Its name is Papillon. I've heard of it. I've heard of it. In fact, I've seen it, but I've never had the chance to be there. Yes, that's exactly the cafe I mean, Elena. That's the one. And Gaia says, Kikadoro. That's the one I go to. That's the cafe I go to when I'm on foot in the center. And Gaia says that my parents sometimes make me drink coffee. Well, Gaia, why do your parents make you drink coffee if you don't like coffee? But, well, if you don't like coffee, you can drink tea instead. But do you ever go to a cafe, Gaia? Thank you very much, Austin. Austin says, I sometimes go to a cafe for breakfast, but rarely for lunch. I usually go for breakfast as well, and sometimes for a snack after work. So as I said, it depends on when you go, what you like to order in a cafe. If I'm meeting friends for lunch, for example, maybe I'll order a salad or a sandwich. I don't like to eat very heavy things in a cafe because usually I'm on break from work. All right, why don't we go on to the next slide? Here we have several phrases from a conversation. So we're at the counter in a cafe. What are possible things that we would say? Elena says, when I go to Papillon, I love to have pan di dramarino. It's a sweet bread with rosemary and raisin. It's a typical Tuscan bakery product. I've never had that, Elena. That sounds delicious. And do they make it there or do they get it from a bakery? It sounds really good. Often the best cafes are the ones that bake their own sweets and make their own lunches. Thank you very much, Andrea. Andrea says, I like to order a rice pastry and American coffee. You like American coffee, Andrea? I mean, the coffee is so good here. Why would you drink American coffee? Ah, Gaia, your parents make you drink coffee as a joke. They think it's funny. Oh, good morning, Julia. How are you? You don't like coffee? Not everybody likes coffee, Julia. I happen to love coffee. A good cup of coffee, by the way. Not all coffee. But in this focus this morning, we're talking about going to a cafe. And at a cafe, you don't necessarily have to have coffee. You can have other things to drink and other things to eat. We have a lot of things to do together. Yes, we do, Elena. We have to travel. And as soon as we get out, we can go to the cafe in Calenzano. I'm sure I will love it. It sounds wonderful. Okay, at the counter in a cafe, we have all these phrases, but they're not in order. Thanks. Good morning. What can I get for you? Okay, how would you like your tea? I'd like a cup of tea, please. I'd like a black tea with cream and sugar. Here's your tea with cream and sugar. Thank you, Andrea. Andrea says, I like American coffee instead of espresso. That's too strong. Really? Yes, espresso is strong. And I guess that's why I like it because of course, living in the US, I used to drink American coffee all the time. And then once I came to Europe, I really enjoyed the stronger coffee more. So now when I drink American coffee, it's just not the same. It's not the same. Okay, let's take a look at our phrases in this conversation. They're numbered 1 through 6, but they're out of order. So looking at these sentences, these phrases, we want to put them in the correct order. Now, there's no need to, you like American coffee too, Gaia? Oh, considering you don't like coffee, but you like American coffee. Well, as Andrea said, is not as strong as espresso. So that could be why you like it. So let's take a look at our phrases on the screen. We have 6 phrases, but as I said, they're not in order. We want to put them in order. You don't have to write out all the phrases. You can simply give me the order of numbers. For example, when you walk into a cafe, what is the first thing someone says? Taking a look at our phrases on the screen, what's the first phrase you think someone says in a cafe? It could either be the customer or the person working at the cafe that says this. When you walk into a shop, you walk into a cafe, you walk into a bar, depending on the time of day, someone says, ha. And this is something that we do in the US, and we also do it here. Once you walk into a public place, you greet someone in the shop. You greet someone at the cafe. You greet whoever it is. It's one of the practices that I like a lot about living here, that sometimes in the US, we don't do it so much anymore because the idea of talking to strangers has become so common that no one talks to anybody unless they have a reason to in many big cities. But for example, here, when you walk into the doctor's office, and maybe the doctor's office is full, and it's a common practice to say, good afternoon, good evening, hello to everyone in the doctor's office, even though you don't know them. So of our 6 phrases, which phrase is the first one? Thank you very much, Elena. The first phrase is number 2. Good morning. What can I get for you? And who is saying this phrase? So you walk into a cafe and the first phrase is good morning. What can I get for you? Who is saying this phrase? The customer or the person working in the cafe? If you walk into a cafe, do you ask the person at the counter, hi, good morning, what can I get for you? And they're like, what? You come into my cafe and you ask me what I want. So obviously, the person greeting, good morning, what can I get for you, is the person who works in the cafe. They are saying hello to the customer. So the first phrase in this conversation is, good morning, what can I get for you? What is the second phrase? After the person in the cafe says, hi, good morning, what can I get for you? The second person says, I want drink only tea. Got it. Wait a minute. Austin only drinks tea. Okay. Elena, thank you very much for your answer. So the second phrase is, I would like a cup of tea, please, which is number 4. Which is number 4. So the first sentence is number 2. The second one is number 4. Good morning, what can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea, please. Austin, focus, Austin. The first sentence is number 2. The second is number 4. What is the third sentence? Good morning, what can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea, please. So now the person working in the cafe says what? Once you order something in a cafe or a restaurant, sometimes there's another question that follows. Thank you, Elena. You don't have to like tea, but this is a practice conversation because you never know, Gaia and Austin, when you'll find yourself possibly on holiday and you have to order something in English. So this is very good practice, even if you don't like tea. Do we use the word barista? At a bar, we use the word bartender. If you're at a bar, we use the word bartender. If we're in a cafe, it's probably a waiter or a waitress or a counter person. We don't have the word barista. But a bar, more like a pub, Andrea. Someone is a bartender. Thank you, Mateo says, I'd like a cup of tea, please. So, good morning. What can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea, please. At this point, the counter person or the waiter or waitress says, how would you like your tea? Thank you, Elena. How would you like your tea? And that's number 3. Good morning. What can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea. How would you like your tea? How does the customer answer? Right now, we're simply putting the conversation in order because we've noticed that we have all of these phrases, but they're not in order, so it doesn't make any sense. Good morning. What can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea. How would you like your tea? Now, I usually drink, depending on the tea that I drink, I usually drink it with lemon or honey. I don't put cream or milk in my tea. I'd like black tea with cream and sugar. Thank you very much, Mateo. I'd like a black tea with cream and sugar. Now, thank you. I understood it was black. So we have number 5. Good morning. What can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea, please. Okay. How would you? What did you write first, Leo? I didn't see what you wrote first. Did you write something first? I'm sorry that I missed it. I'm sorry that I missed it. I'll pay closer attention next time, Leo, okay? All right, so we have the order of our conversation so far. Good morning, what can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea. How would you like your tea? I'd like a black tea with cream and sugar. Leo, give me the next one. After you say, I'd like a black tea with cream and sugar, what does the counter person say? What does the waiter or waitress say? So after you ask for your black tea with cream and sugar, the waitress says, here's your tea with cream and sugar. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Austin, for the order. But the trick, Austin, is, as you notice, some of the other members of the group are writing out the sentences. So this is great grammar practice. It's also great spelling practice. Here's your tea with cream and sugar. Thank you very much, Elena. And then afterwards, thank you, Leo. Excellent. Here's your tea with cream and sugar. And then the customer says, thanks. Let's go over our order. As Austin already pointed out, the order of our conversation. Good morning. What can I get for you? I'd like a cup of tea, please. Okay. How would you like your tea? I'd like a black tea with cream and sugar. Here's your tea with cream and sugar. Thanks. Very good, Austin. And the order is 2, 4, 3, 5, 6, and 1. Now, in the previous slide, we only talked about ordering a black tea with cream and sugar, but there are plenty of other foods that you can order in a cafe. What are they? In this slide here, we have 6 different images. Yes, Austin, we have 6 different images, and we want to name the food. Thank you, Gaia. Here's your tea with the cream and sugar. Thank you, Gaia. So here we want to talk about the different types of foods you can get at a cafe. We said that you can go to a cafe for breakfast. So you might have some coffee, tea, juice, or something sweet to eat. If you go to a cafe for lunch, maybe you'll have soup, a salad, a sandwich. Yes, Leo, thank you for your spelling assistance with instead of wit, with. And these are different examples of dishes you can get at a cafe. What do we want to do? We want to go through the pictures and name them. The first one is a sandwich. A sandwich. What is the second picture that we see up here? These are different foods you can order in a cafe. I know, Gaia. I'm a little hungry too. I didn't have breakfast yet this morning. I was very busy because my son was at school on the computer, so I was a little preoccupied. Leo, focus. You can have a salad with some bread for lunch. Very good, Elena. That's also something you could order in a cafe. In fact, usually when I go to a cafe for lunch, I order a salad. And that is our second picture. What about the third one? Thank you, Gaia. So in the first picture, we have a sandwich. The second one, we have a salad. What about the third picture? What is that? In fact, often in cafes, they make this every day. And there's a special of the day. There are certain types that they have all the time. Oh, thank you very much, Austin. And then there are others that they have every single day. So Austin says the first one is a sandwich. The second one is a salad. The third one is soup. Soup. And as I said before, often in cafes, you can order the soup of the day. And you never know what it is. They have soups that they always have on the menu. So it could be tomato soup, chicken soup, vegetable soup, and then they'll have a special soup of the day. So these are lunch items that we can get. You can have a nice, thank you, Elena, especially in the winter. If you go to a cafe for lunch, you can have a bowl of warm soup in winter. Now, in our second row of pictures, these are things that we might get at breakfast. What are items we might get at breakfast or for snack? Hey, Johnny, you can have a sandwich for lunch. Yes, yes, you can. Usually in the US, our lunches are very light. We have a heavier breakfast. For lunch, we have a sandwich, a salad, maybe a cup of soup, not even a bowl, a cup of soup. And then our dinners are a little bit heavier because we have dinner around 6 o'clock. We have dinner, we have early dinners between 5 and 5:30, and then our dinner hour is about 6 o'clock. So we have heavier dinners as well. Okay, breakfast is not enough. Yes, so we do have sandwiches for lunch. What is the green stuff on top? Parsley. This is parsley. This is tomato. This is a vegetable soup with a tomato base, and that is parsley. Okay, the next picture here, we have cake. We have chocolate cake. This is a salad. Thank you, Elena. And this is a little bit of parsley on top of our soup. In this picture, we know that these are cookies. In the UK, they say biscuits. In the US, however, we say cookies because we give biscuits to dogs. Biscuits are for dogs in the US. Cookies are for people. And cookies you can have at breakfast or for snack. And the last picture we see is coffee. What are other things that we could order in a cafe? Here it says, brainstorm a list of food and drinks you like to order in a cafe. Now, these are just basic things that you can get in a cafe from the menu. A sandwich, a salad, soup, cake, cookies, coffee. Think of other things you could drink in a cafe. What are other things you can drink? Because as Gaia said, she doesn't really like coffee. She likes American coffee a little bit. A lot of people here don't necessarily drink coffee. So if you go to a cafe, thank you very much, Leo, and you don't like coffee, what can you drink? You can drink orange juice. You can drink different types of fruit juices. I know breakfast is not enough, Gaia, but soon it will be lunchtime. So you can order coffee, you can order juice, you can order tea. For sweet things, you can order a donut. Thank you, Austin. Can you think of any other lunch dishes that you can order in a cafe? If someone doesn't necessarily eat a sandwich, you can order a brioche. So in the US, we say a croissant, which is actually a French word. So we call it a croissant, which is a crescent roll. It's a crescent roll. That would be something we might be able to get for breakfast. Yes, and we can also order pasta. You can get a small plate of pasta. Thank you very much, Elena. So let's say we don't necessarily want a sandwich or a salad or a bowl of soup. You can also get a plate of pasta. In the summer months, you can get pasta salad, which is a cold pasta dish, not a hot pasta dish. And as we said, thank you very much, Gaia. You can also get orange juice. Estate, I don't think we don't have estate in the US, but here you can get an estate. You can buy iced tea. That's an excellent beverage as well. Leo, thank you very much. You can also get a rice salad. There are different types of salad. As Elena pointed out, you can get pasta. You can get a pasta salad, which is cold pasta. You can get a rice salad, which is a cold rice dish. And you can also get different types of salad, like chicken salad or tuna salad or lobster salad or a fruit salad, which would be sweet. You can also get a soft drink. Thank you very much, Andrea. Notice Andrea's comment. You can have a soft drink. Candy as well too, Leo, but usually candy is at the cash register. So on your way out, you will buy some candy, but you don't necessarily go to the cafe for candy. Soft drinks, as Andrea said, are carbonated beverages. A soft drink is a drink like Coca-Cola. like Fanta, like Pepsi, like ginger ale, or 7-Up. These are soft drinks, and you can get these also in a cafe, not necessarily in a bottle or a can, but on tap. So you can get Coca-Cola on tap. Andrea also says you can eat chicken wings with barbecue sauce. Yes, not all cafes, but some, yes. So we've seen that there are plenty of foods we can order in a cafe, but the portions are smaller. I know, Gaia, I'm getting very hungry too. The portions are smaller. So even if, Andrea, you get chicken wings at a cafe, you don't get a big plate of chicken wings. You'll get maybe a small plate of chicken wings. Okay. And you can also have a cappuccino. A cappuccino is the same in the US. I wouldn't say it's as good, but a cappuccino is a cappuccino. So once we understand what's on the menu, there are plenty of foods on the menu. How do we ask? There are many ways to order when you go into a cafe. There are ways that are more formal and less formal. You can get macaroni and cheese. Yes, but not everywhere. It depends on which cafe you go to. If you go to a cafe in the South or in the Midwest, there's a very good chance you'll have macaroni and cheese instead of rice, because the people in the South and in Middle America eat more baked pasta. This is one way that we can order. When the counter person says, "Good morning, good afternoon, what can I get for you?" You can answer by saying, I'll have a salad. I'll have a coffee, please. Or I'll have a tuna salad sandwich. Another way to order, if you're in a cafe and you decide you want something, can anyone tell me another way you can ask for something to drink or something to eat? French fries, Leo. In the UK, patatine are chips. Chips, fried potatoes. In the US, they're called French fries. French fries. And sometimes they eliminate French and they just say fries. I'll have a ham sandwich and a side of fries. What's a side? A side is a dish, a small plate that you have on the side of your main dish. If you get a hamburger, that's something else you can get in a cafe. You can also get a hamburger. Thank you, Gaia. Chips, they say chips in the UK. In the US, they say fries. We say fries. Can anyone tell me another way to order in a cafe? You can say, I'll have. But what if you want to ask a question? What's a polite way of asking for something in a cafe? Good afternoon. What would you like? And the customer says, give me some cake. No. What does the customer say? They can either say, I'll have, or can I get? And this is a question form. Can I get a sandwich? Can I get a salad? Can I get, Leo, focus, Leo. Can I get a coffee, please? What's another way we can order in a cafe? Can I have the bill? Okay, Austin, that's after the meal, but thank you very much. That's once we finish eating and we want to pay. Thank you, Elena. I would like to have, or may I get? May I please have? So can I get, may I have are two other ways of asking. May I is much more polite. Now notice here we have images on the screen of something to drink or something to eat. Thank you, Leo. Can I have a chocolate cake? Can I have a slice of chocolate cake? Because if you ask, can I have a chocolate cake? It means you want an entire chocolate cake, but you just want a piece of chocolate cake. Okay, we're not getting the bill yet, Gaia and Austin. We don't need the bill. Right now, we're asking for this. At the bottom, you have can. Give me the way to order this. What is it? And give me the way to, and write to me the way to order. So here we have an image of something to drink. Here we have an image of something to drink. How do we order this in the picture? Can anyone give me the request? So if the word is can, we would say it's orange juice. Thank you very much, Austin. How do we order orange juice in a cafe with the word can? Thank you, Elena. That's one way we can order. May I please have a glass of orange juice? Or can I get some orange juice? That's okay, Elena. These are two ways of ordering orange juice. May I please have a glass of orange juice? Or can I get some orange juice? Why? Because orange juice is uncountable. What makes orange juice countable is when you put it in a glass. Here we have a sandwich. We have a sandwich and we want to order the sandwich with may. How can we order this sandwich with may? That was the doorbell, Leo. That was the doorbell. It was the delivery man. The delivery man brought a package. Because since we can't leave our homes, we order things by mail, and the delivery man always comes in the middle of my 11 o'clock lesson. Yes, he always does. So if you and I are together at 11, at some point the doorbell will ring because the delivery man is here. Okay, how can we order? No, Elena, there's no privacy. You're all in the house with me today. Gaia, that was my doorbell. That was my doorbell. The delivery man came with a package. Okay, we're ordering a sandwich, everyone. Thank you, Elena. We're ordering a sandwich. May I please have a sandwich? May I please have a sandwich? Let's go on to the next image. And here's, instead of estate, we have iced tea. We have a glass of iced tea. And underneath we have have. Now these are our three ways to order. I'll have, can I get, may I please have. We want a glass of iced tea. How do we order it with the word have? How do we order it with the word have? Gaia and Leo, would you like to order a glass of iced tea? I am the counter person. Good afternoon. What can I get for you? And you are going to ask me for this with the word have. This is the first way to order. I actually prefer real iced tea to estate. Real iced tea. In fact, in the summertime, I make sun tea. Does anyone know what sun tea is? Sun tea is when you put tea bags in cold water and you put the jar in the sun and the sun brews the tea. And it's really good. Can I get a glass of iced tea? Thank you very much, Elena. Can I get a glass of estate? Iced tea. Iced tea. Because in the US, we don't have estate. Can I have iced tea or I'll have iced tea? Thank you very much, you guys. Let's go on to the next one. And here's our famous chocolate cake. Iced tea. Thank you, Austin. Iced tea. Because in the US, we don't have estate. We have iced tea. Thank you, Gaia. Can I get an iced tea? Here we have our famous chocolate cake. And we have. Notice that the question, because Leo said, can I have iced tea? If we order, Gaia, can I get, which means you want the person to give it to you. Can I have is different. Can I have is different. If we're ordering, then we say, can I get? In a cafe, in a restaurant, can I get? Or I'll have. So I'll have a slice of chocolate cake. I'll have a slice of chocolate cake. And here are the brioche, as Elena said before, but they are actually crescent rolls. Crescent rolls. And the typical crescent roll is not sweet, but has a lot of butter. So they're almost salty. And you could cut them open and put jam inside. So a lot of us do that when we have crescent rolls. We cut them open and we put jam inside. Please, may I please have a slice of chocolate cake? Why? Because if you ask for chocolate cake, Austin, you ask for the entire cake, but we just want a piece or a slice of chocolate cake. Can I get an iced tea? Very good, Gaia. Okay, now we have a crescent roll. May I please have? May I please have a crescent roll? I actually prefer, I don't eat the typical French crescent rolls. I like the ones made from whole wheat. That would be integrale. Or may I please have a croissant roll? May I say a pastry? If you say pastry, Elena, pastry is general. There are many types of pastries. If you say croissant, it's a specific one. Because if I go into a cafe and I say, oh, hi, may I have a pastry? They'd say, which pastry would you like? Oh, I'd like a croissant. Ah, okay, here you are. Very good, Austin. May I please have a croissant? A croissant. Why? Because we use a, wait a minute, we use an before the words that start with A, E, I, O, and U. We use a for everything else. So an apple, a banana, a croissant. I'll have a slice of chocolate cake. I know you will, Andrea. May I please have a croissant? Very good, you guys. Here we're having a salad. Now, in the previous slide, it was just a green salad, possibly a garden salad. But here we have what is a tuna salad, meaning they have a can of tuna and they cut it up and they mix it in with a green salad. And now you have tuna salad. Have. Right now we're just practicing ordering the food. Have a tuna salad. In fact, the tuna salad plates are very common in the summer because it's very light and it's very cool to eat. And especially when it's warm outside or hot outside, you can go right back to work and you won't have all the food right here. Because sometimes if you eat too heavy in the afternoon and then you have to go back to work, I know I get very sleepy. Tuna salad, I'll have a tuna salad. Oh, and here's our famous soup. Andrea, here we have our vegetable soup and with parsley on top. Parsley, in the US, they put parsley on everything. It's not because you're supposed to eat parsley. It just makes it pretty. And they throw parsley on all the plates. And if you don't like parsley, or if you're allergic to parsley, prezzemolo, you have to say, please, no parsley. Don't put parsley on my plate. I like green, but I don't like to eat parsley. And here we have can. How can we order a bowl of soup? Can I get soup? Can I get some soup, Austin? Or can I get a bowl of soup? Why? Because soup is uncountable. How do we make soup countable? Why is it so small? Because it's lunchtime, Leo. Usually at lunch, they give you a cup of soup and a sandwich, a cup of soup and a salad. They don't give you a big bowl of soup. And soup, I said, is uncountable, so we have to get a bowl, a cup, or some. All right, now we already know what the three ways of ordering are. I'll have, can I get, may I please have. Thank you, Leo. And here we have a muffin. Would someone order a muffin, please, using have? Hi, good morning. What can I get for you? Good morning. Welcome to English in the City Cafe. What can I get for you today? So please order this muffin with have. With have. May I please have a tuna salad without Thank you, Andrea. May I please have a tuna salad? Forget the muffin. Andrea wants a tuna salad. Thank you, Leo. I'll have a muffin. Thank you, Leo, for ordering the muffin. Oh, and for those of you who don't like coffee, here is a cup of tea. This is our last order for today. Good morning. Almost good afternoon. What can I get for you? I would like to have a vanilla muffin. Thank you, Elena. And Gaia says, I'll have a slice of muffin. Gaia, you have a slice of cake, but because a muffin is small, you can have the whole muffin. The whole muffin is for you. But if there is a chocolate cake, the cake is big, so you have a slice of cake. A muffin is small, you can have the whole muffin. Who would like to order a hot cup of tea before we wrap up our focus for today? Can I get a cup of tea? Fantastic, Leo. Fantastic. Listen, we've come. Can I get a cup of tea? Thank you very much, Austin. And thank you, Gaia. We've come to the end of our focus. In today's focus, we didn't get to pay today because we were too busy ordering food. But Austin and Gaia were very, very efficient, and they told us how to ask for the bill. So once you've had your juice and your tea and your coffee, and you've eaten your salad and your sandwich, you can ask for the bill. And that's how you finish your visit at a cafe. So in today's focus, we reviewed vocabulary more than anything else, the different foods we get in a cafe, and how to order in a cafe. The 3 ways we order in a cafe are I'll have, can I get, may I please have. And remember the difference between a cafe and a restaurant. Why do you go to a cafe? You can go for breakfast, for lunch, or for snack when you want to eat something fast and light. Okay, listen, everyone, thank you so much for joining me this morning. It was very nice to get out again today and go to a cafe with all of you. Are there any questions before we finish our focus? Does anybody have any questions or any comments they'd like to add? It's a little bit chilly out today, but I'm going to try to go outside at least a little bit to get some fresh air. I know, I'm very hungry too, Leo. In fact, I'm going to start making lunch. May I have the bill? Excellent, Gaia. That's how we wrap up our focus. Thank you, Elena. See you soon. Everyone, have a great afternoon, and I'll see you next time. Okay, everyone, have a great day.